what if, what if the earthquake that just devastated the news cycle wasn't actually caused by tectonic plates?
Right, like what if it was caused by the silent, chaotic wishes of 8 billion people?
Exactly. I mean, what if the next catastrophic economic collapse is literally just being willed into existence by our collective bad
Ah,
moods?
it's a pretty wild premise to start with.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because normally, when we look at global events like supply chain failures or wars or superstorms, we demand precision.
Oh, for sure. We want the hard facts.
Right. We want the economist to point to a blocky port or the geologist to point to a fault line. We just really crave that visible mechanical cause and effect.
Yeah, we want something we can measure.
Exactly. But today we are stepping into a philosophical framework that completely dismantles that mechanical worldview. We're looking at a landscape where, well, human consciousness is the heaviest variable in the room.
And that forces a radical departure from how we usually process reality,
Oh, absolutely.
because we're so used to treating the mind as just this isolated observer of the physical universe. But the perspective we're dissecting today suggests a direct, literal tether between internal human desires and external physical catastrophes.
Yeah, geopolitical and natural disasters alike. So, welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We are tackling a single, highly provocative essay today. It's titled Your Wishes Shape Your Life.
And it was written by an author named Zhu Feng.
Yep,
Right.
written on March 22, 2024, and it was translated and edited by Kinyu. Our mission today is basically to explore the author's central premise.
Which is that the escalating chaos in our world isn't just a series of random misfortunes.
Right. It's the direct harvest of our collective, unarticulated desires. Now, it's really vital to state right up front that the author leads us toward a highly specific political and ideological destination.
Yeah, they call it Su Feng-style communism.
Exactly. And our goal today is not to take a side, or endorse this ideology or tell you what to believe.
Definitely not.
We're just acting as your guides to unpack the rhetorical architecture, the philosophical roots, and really just the profound questions this text raises about human nature.
And to understand the architecture of this argument, we really have to start at the micro level.
Because before the author blames humanity for literal earthquakes, they kind of zoom all the way in on just one single person.
Right. The essay opens with this portrait of a chronic complainer.
We all know one.
Oh, absolutely. This is someone whose personal life is just a disorganized, stagnant mess.
Yeah.
And they spend all their energy lamenting the unfairness of society, the selfishness of their neighbors, and just the general decay of the modern world.
And this complainer is so deeply frustrated with the status quo that they actually actively wish for these frightening apocalyptic prophecies to come true.
Yeah, they want a complete overhaul.
Right. They want the system to burn down because they feel like it's just fundamentally broken. But then the author does something brilliant here.
They confront them.
Yeah. They confront this person and ask a seemingly simple question. They just say, what kind of life do you actually want to live?
And the person draws a complete blank.
Totally blank. They cannot formulate a single cohesive vision of a future scenario that they actually desire.
Which is so telling.
Yeah.
And the author uses this encounter to introduce what we might call the 90% rule.
Okay, unpack that for us.
Well, they assert with supreme confidence that 90% of the human population falls perfectly into this category.
Wow, 90%.
Yeah. Basically saying the vast majority of humanity has never truly deeply thought about the functional daily reality of the life they genuinely need.
So we're highly articulate about our aversions,
Yeah.
but remarkably silent on our aspirations.
Exactly. Even the 10% who have thought about it, according to the author, usually harbor wildly impractical or totally contradictory ideas.
I mean, think about the evolutionary psychology at play here, right? Humans have this built-in negativity bias.
Well, for sure. We're hardwired for it.
Yeah, by thousands of years of evolution, we're just trained to spot threats. Noticing the tiger in the bushes keeps you alive.
But daydreaming about a perfectly harmonious village structure does not.
Exactly. So we pour this massive cognitive effort into identifying problems, but zero energy into constructing a viable blueprint for what comes after the problem is solved.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's like, imagine getting into a taxi, slamming the door, and just screaming at the driver about how much you absolutely hate your current location.
Right, you're complaining about the neighborhood, the terrible air quality, the traffic.
But then when the driver looks in the rearview mirror and asks, okay, well, where do you want to go? You just sit there and shrug in silence.
You are literally guaranteeing A miserable, aimless ride.
Because you've rejected the present without defining a destination.
And the author takes that psychological reality, our inability to articulate a destination, and elevates it to a metaphysical crisis.
How so?
Well, the text argues that the universe basically operates as a responsive mechanism.
Oh.
So if you don't provide it with a clear, harmonious blueprint, but instead feed it this constant stream of anxiety, complaint, and a vague desire for destruction.
It will simply mirror that chaos back to you.
Exactly.
So I have to pause here and ask you, listening to this right now, can you clearly describe the detailed, specific life scenario you want?
It's a tough question.
It really is. Not just vague platitudes like, oh, I want to be happy or I want financial freedom. Can you describe the actual functional day-to-day reality?
Most people can't.
Right. And because, according to Xu Feng's essay, your inability to answer that question is not just a personal failing, it is a global hazard.
Yeah, let's scale that taxi analogy up.
Okay, let's do it.
If one person's mental clutter and negative output guarantees a miserable, disorganized personal life, consider the compounding effect of 8 billion people projecting that exact same chaotic lack of direction at the exact same time.
Oh, wow.
Right. This is where the essay shifts from personal development to literal global catastrophe.
Yeah, because the author drops a very specific, thoroughly modern inventory of crises to illustrate this macro impact.
They don't hold back.
No, they point to the increasing severity and frequency of natural disasters. They cite major, devastating geopolitical conflicts, specifically naming the Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Palestine conflict.
They also bring up the ongoing chaos and collapse in Haiti.
Right, and the intensifying civil unrest in Sudan. They even warn of a major country currently teetering on the brink of a severe economic depression.
And the author looks at this sweeping, terrifying landscape and states with absolute unwavering certainty that all of it is the result of the collective wishes of the people.
See, here is where I struggle. I mean, I can follow the logic on a personal level.
Sure.
If I'm a chronically negative person who constantly complains, I might alienate my friends, make poor financial choices, and ruin my own life. That's just basic cause and effect.
Right. Behavioral consequences.
Exactly. But the author is drawing a direct causal line between our internal mental wishes and literal physical tectonic plates shifting to cause earthquakes.
A huge jump.
Or the complex, historically entrenched motivations behind global wars. I mean, this feels like a massive leap into magical thinking. How does a subjective human wish physically alter the geopolitical and geological world?
It's definitely the most challenging hurdle for a modern empirical mind reading this text.
Yeah.
To understand how the author justifies this leap, we have to look at the Eastern philosophical traditions they're leaning on.
Okay, what are we talking about here?
The essay operates under the premise that the laws of social development and natural laws are not independent variables. They're intrinsically tethered to human consciousness.
Interesting.
Think of the concept of resonance, similar to a room full of tuning forks. In classical physics, if you strike one tuning fork, another of the same frequency will begin to vibrate without being physically touched.
Right, so the author views human consciousness as like the primary tuning fork for the planet itself.
Precisely. In this framework, consciousness generates a collective resonance. It's a heavy physical variable within a radically interconnected ecosystem.
So if the collective human output is chaotic...
Right. If it's rooted in grievance and driven by a subconscious desire to see the existing structures burn, that frequency disrupts the equilibrium of both the social and the natural world.
Oh.
Society becomes turbulent because our collective mind is turbulent. Nature responds with severity because the resonance we are emitting is severe.
So it isn't like a magical spell where a single person wishes for an earthquake.
No, not at all. It's a macro-level environmental response to a corrupted global frequency.
I mean, I can grasp the metaphor of resonance, but accepting it as literal reality still requires a profound leap of faith.
It absolutely does.
But if we entertain the author's premise, though, the implications are just staggering. We are trapped in this horrific feedback loop.
Oh, a terrible one.
We don't know what we want, so we output chaotic resonance. The universe mirrors that chaos back as wars and natural disasters.
And then we look at the disasters, get more anxious and angry, and output even more chaotic resonance.
It's a doom spiral. And the essay notes a very creepy side effect of this loop, the sudden, alarming accuracy of modern prophets.
Yeah, the author addresses the rise of doomsayers and prophets who seem to be successfully predicting our current crises.
Which is unsettling.
Very. But the explanation offered flips the traditional concept of prophecy on its head.
How so?
Well, these prophets aren't tapping into a fixed, unchangeable timeline. They're simply reading the current frequency.
Oh, I see.
They're accurate solely because humanity's collective wishes haven't changed. We are steadily walking down the exact catastrophic path we are subconsciously willing into existence.
It's like we are laying the tracks right in front of the train while screaming about the cliff we're heading toward.
That's a great way to put it.
But the text does offer an emergency brake, right?
Yep.
To prove that these tracks can be diverted, the author pulls from a historical blueprint, citing a famous Chinese text called The Four Lessons of Laofan.
Yes. Yuan Li Haofan is a crucial historical anchor for this essay. He lived during the Ming Dynasty, which was an era where cultural fatalism was incredibly entrenched.
So people just accepted their lot in life.
Largely, yes. People believed their lives were a closed script, a cosmic ledger written at birth.
Right.
And Liao Fan actually had his entire life, his career trajectory, his exact lifespan, his lack of an heir predicted with startling granular accuracy by a fortune teller.
That's wild.
And because the first few predictions came true, Liao Fan basically surrendered completely to fatalism. He became a passive observer of his own existence.
But his trajectory shifts completely when he encounters a Zen master, doesn't it?
It does.
This wise man basically shakes him out of his passive stupor. He imparts a lesson that destroys that fatalistic worldview. He says, one's destiny is created by oneself, and one's fortune is sought by oneself.
And that's when Liao Fan realizes that the cosmic ledger isn't written in ink.
Right.
He shifts from passive acceptance to active generation. He radically changes his internal thoughts, his wishes, and his external behavior, dedicating himself to good deeds.
And the result.
Consequently, his life diverges wildly from the predicted script. He has a son, and he lives decades beyond his predicted death date.
Wow.
The author uses a fantastic phrase to describe this outcome. Liao Fan caused the fortune teller's predictions to go bankrupt.
Bankrupting a prophecy. I love that phrasing. It strips all the mystical authority away from the prophet and places the agency entirely back onto the human being.
Exactly.
So the author is applying Liao Fan's micro-level triumph to our macro-level crisis.
Yes, that's the core argument.
If our collective wishes change right now, all the terrifying doomsday prophecies dominating our news feeds will similarly go bankrupt.
They'll fail because the input has changed.
But we've already established that most people don't know how to wish for something functional.
That is the big problem.
Right, so how do we ensure our new collective wish actually works?
For that, the author invokes Laozi, the ancient philosopher and founder of philosophical Taoism.
Ah, okay.
Laozi spoke of an unveiled mystery regarding the Tao, which is the fundamental underlying way of the universe.
Right, the Tao.
The Tao is a perfectly fair, neutral mechanism. It does not judge. It simply fulfills. Whatever humanity truly, collectively wishes for, the Tao will manifest into reality.
But the author makes it very clear that the universe has strict terms and conditions, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It might be a wish-granting factory, but it is bound by physics and natural law. The text uses this wonderfully grounded analogy to explain it. They say, you can't wish to plant a walnut tree and expect it to bear gold.
I mean, the Tao will execute your blueprint, but the blueprint has to be structurally sound.
It has to make sense in reality.
Right. You cannot wish for an outcome that violates the fundamental laws of nature and expect the universe to bend to your delusion.
Yeah.
Your wishes must align with the natural order or they will collapse under their own contradictory weight.
Which brings us to the ultimate grand climax of the essay. We know we have to change our chaotic frequency.
Yes.
We know the universe will grant a harmonious wish if it aligns with natural laws. So the author presents the reader with an absolute fork in the road, a classic binary choice.
Path A is the path of inertia.
The default path.
Right. If our collective wishes remain stagnant, chaotic, or non-existent, the laws of social development lock into place.
Which means?
Natural disasters will aggressively intensify. Human society will descend into further turbulence, and every terrifying prophecy of global collapse will be validated.
So the bad timeline, total destruction.
Definitely the bad timeline. Conversely, path B is the path of intentional change. But the author doesn't just suggest we wish for general peace.
No, they don't.
They demand that humanity shift its collective wish toward a highly specific ideological framework, which they title Shufeng-style communism.
There it is.
If humanity aligns its resonance with this specific vision, the author promises an almost miraculous global turnaround.
Like what?
Disasters will gradually subside. Peace and auspiciousness will blanket the earth. Everyone will live what the text describes as a heavenly life, and all the prophecies of doom will be rendered completely bankrupt.
You know, looking at this stark fork in the road, the most glaring element of the essay is actually the massive blank space it leaves behind.
How do you mean?
Well, the author issues this apocalyptic ultimatum: adopt my specific system or face global devastation, but at no point in this text do they explain the actual mechanics of Zofing-style communism.
That's very true.
There is no discussion of resource allocation, governance models, or economic policy. It's presented purely as a necessary ideological destination, like an absolute cure-all.
Right, and what we're looking at there is a classic millenarian or eschatological framework.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, this is a recurring pattern in human history, often appearing during periods of profound existential dread. Eschatology deals with ultimate destinies, the end of the world, the final judgment, and the transition into a utopian state.
Oh, I see.
By framing the current global situation as a stark binary choice between utter annihilation and a literal heavenly life, the author creates an immense psychological urgency.
Yeah, it forces a decision.
Exactly. There's no room for incremental progress or nuanced geopolitical negotiation.
And honestly, it provides a massive psychological relief for the reader.
How so?
Well, when you're overwhelmed by the complexities of supply chains, century-old territorial conflicts, and atmospheric science, the idea that there's just one master key.
One single ideology.
Yeah, one singular utopian ideology that will fix the weather and end all wars simultaneously, that is incredibly seductive.
Oh, it really is.
It speaks to our deep, exhausting craving for order. It's like the ultimate high-stakes taxi ride. The driver turns around and says, "Give me the exact address to paradise or I am driving us off this cliff."
That's exactly the tone. And in the essay's closing moments, the author delivers a final, impassioned plea that reinforces this demand for absolute self-reliance.
Yeah.
It's a striking blend of ancient spiritual terminology and modern, almost science fiction concepts.
Right. The author directly addresses the reader, warning them not to look outward for rescue. Do not wait for gods to save you. Do not wait for Buddhas. And incredibly, do not wait for some galactic alliance to save you.
The inclusion of a galactic alliance is such a fascinating rhetorical choice.
It really caught me off guard.
It acknowledges a very modern form of escapism.
Yeah.
Just as historical populations look to the heavens for divine intervention, modern populations often fantasize about highly advanced extraterrestrial forces or sudden technological singularities descending to fix our broken planet.
Yeah, the message is brutally clear. No one is coming to rescue us.
No one.
The cavalry isn't waiting just over the horizon because we are the cavalry. Our internal resonance, the clarity of our collective wishes, is the only tool that actually matters in averting global disaster.
It places the ultimate burden of global survival squarely on the shoulders of individual human consciousness.
It's a lot to carry.
It really is. It's simultaneously an empowering assertion of agency and a terrifying weight.
Which brings us entirely back to you, the listener. We started this deep dive talking about the helplessness we feel when looking at a seismograph or a map of burning geopolitical conflicts.
Right.
You probably cannot negotiate a historic peace treaty this afternoon. You certainly cannot stop a tectonic plate from snapping.
Sadly, no.
But if we extract the core philosophical utility from Schweffing's Messe, it's the profound, urgent importance of internal clarity. You have absolute control over the blueprint you are drawing in your own mind.
You can define your destination instead of just screaming at the driver.
Yes, exactly.
Articulating a clear, harmonious vision for your own life is the necessary first step in bankrupting the negative prophecies you have written for yourself.
But as you go about defining those wishes, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over.
Okay, let's hear it.
The author insists that our collective wishes are shaping our geopolitical and physical reality, but consider the media diet you consume every single day.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Think about the algorithms feeding you perfectly tailored information on your phone, the engineered outrage cycles dominating social media, and the polarized conversations you find yourself repeating.
The feedback loop.
Right. If our internal wishes are truly serving as the tuning forks for the world, are the wishes you are putting out into the universe actually your own?
That's a chilling question.
Or have they been quietly, algorithmically planted in your mind by the very chaotic society you are hoping to escape?
It forces a critical examination of autonomy in the digital age.
Exactly.
If we are commanded to be the architects of our own destiny, we have to be absolutely certain we're the ones holding the pen.
Are you genuinely planting your own walnut tree, or is someone else handing you the seeds and telling you what they'll grow into? Until next time, keep diving deep.